Hey everybody, just trying to find a decent place to film this video. So I decided to do it on my front porch, and if you just excuse me for a minute, I'm just going to pour some of the sparkling lemon water in my cup, and then I'll get started talking, which, by the way, this Clear American, I get it from Walmart for like 50 cents a liter of this. It's really good. This lemon water tastes like Sprite, so I like that I can cut out those soda and sugars because this has 0 sugars and 0 everything in it, but it tastes like Sprite. So yeah, let me take a sip of this and then we'll get started. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the last, my life, co-parenting, and it's like me opening up about my life. There was I've had really good feedback, by the way, on my co-parenting video, which makes me really happy about. I'm super happy about that. And I'm trying to pull up, I think it was Life According to Sally. I want to say that was the YouTuber's name. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. I'm just guessing right now because my computer isn't pulling it up. It's being really weird. But she had said, you should really share more personal stories and how I overcame my childhood with my mom. And for weeks I have been trying to figure out, how can I get on here? And sorry, there's like a big 18-wheeler going through. Wait a minute. Anyways, so I've been trying to figure out for weeks, how do I get on here? And how do I talk about my childhood to where when my mom watches this video, because I know she will, that she doesn't feel like I'm bashing her. So I'm still kind of playing it out, so I guess we're just going to take this one step at a time here. It does feel really good to open up about my childhood. I had seen a therapist years ago because from childhood through teenage years, young adult life, I kept everything inside. It affected me really bad. To this day, sometimes, my emotions have a lot to deal with, how I was raised, and stuff like that. So I'm just going to try to baby step this in ways. A lot of people don't know me. They think they know me really well, but they don't. Because if they did, they would understand, this is why Skipper is hard to deal with. She's like hard on the outside, but once you get in, she's really soft on the inside. It's like a turtle. I feel like I was ripped away from my childhood. I didn't get to enjoy a lot of things that my friends got to enjoy. And a lot of kids that I went to school with and grew up with in high school and stuff, they never really knew what my life was because they never got to know me, or they either knew my mom and who she was with at the time and they didn't want to come around. I am a child who has survived child abuse, emotionally, physically. I have seen the worst, and when I was little, I would get punished, and my mom at the time, and still to this day, which I really I pray more now than before, that she gets her own life together and learns from her mistakes. She's still kind of struggling there because there's alcohol involved. There was always alcohol involved when I was a kid. There were drugs that were involved. So when someone asks me, because it's not just, you know, someone on YouTube, you know, I have friends that ask me too, they're just like, when they finally figure it out, they're just like, how did you take that as a kid? You know, I was abused. I was told that, you know, I'm only doing this to you because I love you. I wouldn't be yelling at you if I didn't love you. I wouldn't spank you if I didn't love you. You know, I don't feel like that's good parenting. You don't sit there and tell your child, I'm gonna beat you with this belt because I love you. I don't believe that's good parenting. You know, when I was raised, and people say all the time, and you know, I have family members that joke too, but they don't even really understand either, because they have only been around for a certain portion of my life, that they only saw things when they were around, but they never really knew. You know, I feel like when I was a kid, I got my hind end tore up over everything. You know, there was no joy. And, you know, one thing that really made me sad, you know, and my mom as a kid, and, you know, I never understood why. Because when I was a kid, I did not know about child abuse. I did not know what neglect was. I didn't know all these things. And to be frank, I was probably scared to, you know, tell somebody. And actually, now that I think about it, yeah, there were times where my mom's like, you can't tell anybody this, because if you do, then, you know, someone will take you away, you won't see mommy ever again. And, you know, that kind of scares a kid, you know, because a child should want to have this bond with their mom and their dad and not have to feel scared. So, you know, as a kid, I always thought it was my fault. When I became a teenager, I realized that, hold on, I just realized I just bounced from one topic to the next. And see, that's also something that abuse for so many years. I'm talking abuse since I was 4 years old. My mom chose terrible guys to get with before she met, like, my stepdad, who I ended up calling dad, but that was later on. But before that, she would get with these guys who were just really terrible to me. And like I said, she drank, she stayed out. She wasn't home, so she didn't know. You know, I had a guy that burnt my foot in hot boiling water. I have a cigarette burn on my hand to this day because a guy put his cigarette out on my hand. You know, and it's just traumatizing. And, you know, this kind of loops back where I just went from one thing to another and not noticing it until, like, a few seconds later. My mind and the way I think and comprehend, you know, is screwed up because of the damage that my past has caused me. And I don't think my mom or some of my family members really understand, but the only way I could even, you know, pass college classes and, you know, everyone noticed this around me, they're just like, Skipper, you just keep rereading the same thing over and over and over and over again. I said, the only way I can remember something is if I just keep, especially if it's short term, I have to read and read and read. And I'm sorry if I'm looking everywhere. There's like wasp, and I don't even know where they're coming from. But I have to like reread and reread and reread things just to have something stick in my mind. So it's just a little hard to deal with. But as a teen, I kind of, you know, realized the stuff that happened to me in the past was not my fault. So then my issues with my mom started turning into anger. I started getting angry at her, like, this is what you put me through. It's like I kind of found a little bit of a voice, or you want to call it teenage attitude, towards, you know, my mom, but I'm just like, this is what you did to me. You know, you put me through these things, and to this day, you're still not making the best choices. And as an adult, when I found out I was pregnant, I promised myself that I would never ever become the woman my mom is. You know, I love my mom. I want her to do better in life and make better choices. But, you know, I have seen all the mistakes and flaws that she has made. And I guess the positive I have, I see all that negative and I turn it into a positive for me being a parent and parenting my child. I have a total different discipline, you know, set up for my kid. And, you know, I could never let my child feel the fear of what I felt. I could never let my child feel the hurt that I felt, the betrayal. You know, Mommy, why would you let this happen to me? You know, all this stuff, you say you love me, but you're hurting me. And it doesn't make any sense. I could never do that to my kid because it's unfair. It sucks your happiness out. It sucks your joy, the positivity. And I think that's what makes me a better person and a better parent, is because I have seen struggle. I have seen hard times. I have seen darkness, and I crawled out the darkness from all of that. I fought hard, you know. There's probably times I could have gave up and just said, Lord, please take me now. Get me out of this hell. But instead, I prayed about it. I took myself to church because no one would take me to church in my house. I would end up calling my aunt, Sherry, and she would end up taking me to her church where I was a teenager and asked for my first Bible, or I went with my friends. But I guess the biggest thing is oh God, that's a big old bee. I turned my nightmare into a positivity by praying and putting God first, and then letting everything fall in place. So I'm just going to kind of end this video on a positive note. If you ever see the worst, always see the good in it. I think that's one thing about me. I always see the good in the bad. And that's how I'll always take things. No matter how hard life is, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to put God first. My childhood has made me a stronger, better woman. And I'm thankful for that. So I'm just going to end it on here because I don't know how much battery is left on my camera. But thank you all for watching. I appreciate it.